Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What you know? Your mic is muted.
Look, I ain't gonna say nothing. I don't know nothing because you can't hear me.
I was
Did
like, are
you
you giving
know?
me? Are you giving me the silent treatment?
That's kung fu theater. Did you know that cotton candy was invented by a dentist?
Yeah, because he was smart. He knew he would get a lot of new clients.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
Fruit Loop, we just got done with our live
Yeah, to celebrate our millionth episode.
millionth download. We've had a
I mean, yeah, what I
million.
say episode.
It's kind of the
Yeah,
same,
it
but we've
is.
had a million downloads on this podcast. We just want to thank everybody who listens to us and shares our podcast. We just don't really know what else to say other than a big thank you.
Yeah. So if you missed it, go back and check it out. It's like 50 minutes of us talking about nothing.
Yeah, so it's
No,
on
we had fun.
YouTube. If
Mhm.
you don't subscribe on YouTube, go in there and subscribe to our channel. You can hit the little bell to get updates when we post new content.
Ding
We are
ding.
going, we have two more episodes of this Barry Morphew affidavit, then we're done.
Yep.
Tomorrow, we're going to start covering the Curtis Reeves trial. This is the retired police captain who shot and killed a fellow moviegoer 8 years ago, just now going to trial, which is insane.
Yep.
Jury was seated today. We're going to start that tomorrow. Before we get started, real quick shout out to our sponsor, Too Cool T-Shirts. You can go to twocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis. Check out T-shirt quilts, pillows, all kinds of stuff. We are having a new giveaway at the end of this month, another live. Our goal is to do a virtual breakout room and have our listeners help. So we'll have more information coming up on that where you can win a pillow. So
Yep.
Fruit Loop, what can they do?
They can take your t-shirts and make them into a quilt that is too cool.
Yes, yes. So can we just acknowledge the fact that for 5 episodes of this case, we have been pronouncing Salida wrong?
Yeah, we've been saying Salida.
Well, sorry, y'all. But yeah, you know us. We butcher names all the time. And if you have any doubts about that, just remember Pro Hawk Vice. Okay. All
Yeah.
right, let's get started. So we're going to March the 10th. This is an interview with Barry and the FBI. So he says Suzanne might be in the river. And he said if he had disposed of her between Salida and Broomfield, they would have found evidence on his truck. He acknowledges the stripped bed in Mallory's room and the tranquilizer dart evidence make him look bad. I think, one thing you notice with him is every time they interview him, he always acknowledges the evidence makes him look bad. So Barry asks about his gun scopes, and the agents told him they could remove the scopes from the rifles, but if Barry is cleared, he could have all of his stuff back. He said he's answered every question and wants this to be over. He said the agents being at his workplace makes him uncomfortable, and Grusing and Barry don't return. Grusing said Barry does not return calls or texts. But Barry said the reason is because the investigators, Joe and Derek, turned on him. Barry said Suzanne told her friend Sheila that things have turned her against. I'm sorry, let me just start that over. Barry says Suzanne told her friend Sheila things that have turned her against him, and he thought Sheila would tell Suzanne that marriage is for life. Barry said he told Suzanne when they got married that he was a godly man and she better make sure she wanted him because it's for life. Barry says he doesn't understand saying Suzanne is a good woman, but you guys probably think she's a piece of crap. Now that was kind of a bold statement to me, telling the FBI agents you probably think she's a piece of crap because she had an affair. The agents say they don't think that, and Barry says she's as good as they come, and he doesn't understand what got her to this point. He said they had a great night Saturday grilling steaks, had sex, went to sleep. He doesn't know if he stayed up and texted or went somewhere, or if she stayed up texting or went somewhere. Barry talks about the second Valentine's Day in a row she met her boyfriend and told him she was meeting her dad. Barry said he went to Florida and they had an amazing time. They were having sex 3 times a day and she was romantic with him and gave him a beautiful card. Barry said Suzanne must not have been in her right mind to be in love with another man and treat Barry like she still loved him. Harris told Barry that Suzanne's life with her lover seemed to be more true life than her life with Barry. They don't doubt Barry and Suzanne were still being intimate, but they say it was more placating Barry than anything. Agents told Barry Suzanne felt she had to have sex with him at times.
So Barry asked what the relationship of Jeff's was with his wife and asked if the wife was ugly, and Grusing said she is not. He again asked for more information about her lover, but agents tell him he isn't cleared as a suspect and he would need to be before knowing these things and getting his guns back. Uh, Barry said he uh, agrees, but not one gun of his had been fired for months, except the chipmunk gun, and he says he fired it since Suzanne went missing. When asked when he thought it would be okay to stop searching for Suzanne, Barry said never. They asked why he stopped searching, and he said he did for 3 to 5 months, but felt she was gone. That somebody took her and left the area. She said. She said 5 months later he thought to himself, "She's in the river." That's what Barry thought, right?
Yeah, sorry, I put she instead of
No,
he.
that's okay.
My bad. I was
uh,
distracted, probably by Sherlock.
no. So Barry said he searched every mine shaft in the area. He lists the ones that are open in the area. He said the first day he was certain a mountain lion got her because he has been hunting one lion for 2 years, studying his patterns. Barry said the lion could have carried Suzanne to the very top of the mountain and said he looked there first because he had seen a TV show where a mountain lion dragged someone up a mountain. Barry said lions go for the neck. With that whole deal, there's no blood.
Right, exactly. No proof at all.
Um, and Barry said that mountain lions don't eat clothing, so some should have been found. Okay, there's your evidence there, bud. Um, so he says he thinks she just left. Money's gone and thinks something went wrong because she would never leave the girls. The agents asked him where she would go if not to her lover, and he said she would say, "I'm going to disappear and see what happens and try to start my life." He said there's no way Suzanne cares more about her lover than her girls. He then says he thought she was in the river, but search and rescue assured him she was not. He talks about using the excavator from work to tear down a beaver dam, but he would need a huge one due to the number of trees. Barry talks about investigators digging up his work site to look for her when she could be in the beaver dam. He says he doesn't know why they spent $140,000 to dig up his job site when they could have used that money to clean the river to look for her.
Look, I'm gonna say this. Whatever he did with her, he did it well. And that's not something I like to say, but they have not found her as of right now.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big thing working against them at trial, I'm afraid. So Barry again says if he disposed of her between Salida and Broomfield, they would have found evidence in the truck. And he says they haven't because it doesn't exist. He also said it was a coincidence that Mallory's bed sheets were off, and he didn't know that until after Suzanne went missing. He said all of a sudden people are saying that's where he did it, and he knows it makes him look bad. He always says that. He says he doesn't understand how this is still going on after 9 months. And Grusing said the odd thing about the sheets is that a tranquilizer dart had been fired in or around the house. And Barry admits that he shot those, but he doesn't want to get in trouble with the DNR, saying he did that to get the horns off of these deer. He said that's why he didn't share about shooting chipmunks with trank gun because he thought he would get arrested for taking deer horns. Although Barry didn't even talk about the chipmunks until 9 months later, and that's what the agent said when he explained that their problem is that Barry's story changed based on the evidence they were sharing with him.
Yeah.
So Barry says the sheets make him look bad, and the agent asked why. And Barry said it looks like he did something to her there and ripped the sheets off to remove blood evidence. He also said he has dumped trash in dumpsters his entire life. And whatever they need to do to finish all this up to clear him, he says he needs it over with so he can move on. He said learning of her affair broke him and he won't ever get over that, but it would allow him to move on. And he said if she were to return, she doesn't want to be with him. So why would he put all of his love into a relationship that she doesn't want? Barry said this is no way to live, and he can't believe Suzanne is talking bad to him with Jeff, her sister, and her friends. When asked about cameras around the house, Barry said he had game cameras to watch animals and to see if someone comes in while he's out. He said the cameras were in the safe and that Suzanne accused him of having cameras in the house. And she actually accused him of having cameras stuck in the eyes of the taxidermy deers in the
Ooh.
he said now he knows Suzanne was accusing him of an affair to justify her relationship. Grusing said she suspected Barry was having an affair way back when they were in Indiana. And he says that when she told him before to admit he was having an affair, it was like she didn't care because she had someone and that was her attitude. In the notes, Suzanne says boyfriend, and Barry said he accused her to let her see how it felt, but he didn't think she had one. And in the notes, we're talking about the notes that Suzanne wrote and backed up to her iCloud. He wouldn't have been as surprised if it was just more of a texting and emotional affair, but with physical, he said she loves the Lord and you have to answer to the Lord when you do things like that. Agents say they see this thing all the time in investigations and said this was an intimate partner investigation from the very beginning.
Yeah, so Barry said he can't imagine Sue-Ann destroying their family because they were close and knowing their love story. He said being a workaholic, he cheated her out of what she needs emotionally. He said she was and will always be the love of his life, and he's forgiven her for what she's done to him, but he doesn't know if he could ever be with her if she came back, and he would be justified. So the agents say Suzanne talked about divorce in 2019, and Barry says he doesn't remember that and says he doesn't recall her ever saying she wanted a divorce. The agent says a friend was told by Suzanne that he wouldn't even hear it about a divorce, and Barry says he wouldn't. He said if she ever talked about it to him, he said he would have told her he wasn't discussing it because it would never happen. He said the girls saw them argue about Suzanne accusing him of having an affair and says he called the girls in and told them their mom was accusing him of cheating. He said he needed someone on his side, that Suzanne never forgave him for that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't either because you don't pull kids into that kind of stuff. I
No.
don't care if they're teenagers or not.
Yeah. No, that's
You
not cool.
that's called alienation of affection, and if you're in court to get a divorce, you can get in huge trouble for that.
Yeah. So when talking about the text Suzanne sent saying, "I'm done, let's figure this out civilly," Barry said he didn't take any of that with a grain of salt, and he never thought she would sit down and say she wanted a divorce. He says he understands it now, but then he chalked it up to alcohol and drugs. He said she would have these outbursts, and then when he would come home, she would act like it never happened, and she was acting like two different people. He said he told Joe it looked bad that they had this text on Friday. He said he doesn't remember deleting any calls, but he did delete texts because he didn't want the girls to see them. They tell Barry he is free to reach out to meet whenever, and Barry said he feels he looks bad not reaching out to investigators, but he hasn't because of what everyone else is telling him. He asked if the FBI is having the sheriff keep tabs on him because he sees him driving when his agents are in town, and Grusing said they don't tell the sheriff what to do.
Boom. So they show Barry a list of dates and time his phone was put into airplane mode, and Barry said he did that so that Suzanne could not track him. He said that she would show up at his job sites in a rage, thinking he was having an affair with a client. And he said this happened when they were in Indiana, and it made him look bad in front of his clients. He said if they found out about Suzanne's affair, they would have known if he was having one. And here's my thing. I don't think anybody has come forward since she's went missing and said, yeah, maybe she had some issues because she showed up and showed her fanny at a job site. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, that kind of
Yeah.
behavior with the alcohol and the drug accusations and this kind of stuff, not one person other than Barry has come forward and said, "I think maybe she had an addiction."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they show, wait, where was I? Oh, when asked about his search history of sex sites, Barry said he doesn't watch porn, but he did look at a photo of a naked woman. But if there was a search for a woman, it wasn't him, of course. It just happened to come up on my phone.
Go figure.
Yeah. He said he can see the agents are genuine and honest, and he appreciates the work that they're doing on this. He also says, I would beg whatever you could do to clear me. And he mentioned suicide, and the agents say they think her body is close to where the bike and helmet are found. And Barry said he thought that they had planes that could detect the disturbed soil, and he asked if they did that. So when
Okay,
mine check
here's a thing here.
what?
So this statement says, Barry said they had planes that could detect disturbed soil and said they didn't do that. Who said she's in the soil?
Oh, that's a really but he's talking about her being in the river. Yeah, I mean, that's a
Mhm.
really good point, Fruit Loop. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, if a mountain lion drug her off,
right.
you didn't dig a hole and bury her.
Yeah, he has, like, 3 different theories of
Yeah.
what he thinks or he's saying happened to her. Yeah, he's desperate.
Yeah.
So when mine shafts were discussed, agents noticed that Barry shifted in his chair. So he suggested someone took Suzanne or a hit and run or a mountain lion. The last two, I mean, there's been zero evidence of that. Zero. I mean, from the very beginning on the body cam footage when they find her bike, the agent says this looks staged.
Yeah. They're reading his body language.
Yeah, they're not
That's
stupid.
that's why he doesn't want to meet with them.
This is the FBI.
Yeah. It's
You
easy to
know?
hide body language over the phone.
For sure. They know what they're doing. So we're going to stop here. This is kind of a short one. We have one more episode to go to finish this up. We probably will not get that in tomorrow. We're going to start this Curtis Reeves trial. So at some point, we will throw this last one in, not too long from now, so that we can wrap it up. But again, if you didn't catch the live, you can go rewatch it on YouTube. It's on all of our social media. And we
Yep.
appreciate those of you that did make it. And we appreciate those of you who are going to watch later.
Yeah. There's a cool little video on there.
Yes, and it about made me cry, and it's
Yeah.
just kinda like, watching your baby grow up.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right, guys, we appreciate every one of you. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. We will see you tomorrow.